So this week, there were so many good books that came out, you guys. April 8th was stacked on new releases, and it got me thinking, these books I'm super hyped about. So why don't I just read them right now and let you know my thoughts so that you can decide if you want to pick them up. Like, are they worth it or are they not worth it? So we're going to be reading some new releases in this video. Do I know exactly what all I'm going to be reading? No, I thought I did, but I have decided that I'm just going to wing it, and there were a lot of things that came out, so I can pick my poison. I do think I'm going to read Enchantra for sure, because it is mine and Cassidy's book club read for our patrons in the month of April. Yeah, this is April. So I will definitely be reading that one. Aside from that, I might read Fearless by Lauren Roberts. That is the final book in the Powerless series. Could read House of Blight. Who the heck knows? This will be spoiler free though, in case you're like, oh goodness, you're going to be reading a lot of sequels in this. Yes, I'm going to be reading sequels and like companion novels for some of it, but I will not give any spoilers. We'll just talk generalities, and I'll let you know what the first book in the series was about. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really, really good week. I do think I'm going to start with Enchantra. We're going to buddy read this, and I'm just ready to ride the high, because Phantasma I liked okay, but I definitely missed the hype train on that one. The romance was not my absolute favorite, but I've heard that the romance in Enchantra is even better and a little more fleshed out, even though the trials aren't as good. So I guess we've got to give and take one for the other. Quick update, I am at lunch at work and I have been reading Enchantra. I got through about 50-60 pages of this last night and today on my lunch break, and you guys, I'm having the best time with this. I'm one of those people that was a slight Phantasma hater. I gave it a 3-star. It was fine. I liked the vibes, I liked the writing, I liked the trials, but the romance didn't work for me as well as I wanted it to. I don't really know what it was. It just felt like everything happened really quickly, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me. So that one did get a 3-star, but I was very excited about Enchantra because I've heard that the romance was better in this one, and so I was like, yes, fingers crossed, maybe if the romance works well, everything else worked well for me before, and I'm living for the banter between these two characters. I was giggling, I was snorting, I was laughing, I was having the best time. Like, it's just, it's amazing. The prologue to this is already like caught my attention. I just have to read you the last line of the prologue. I don't think it will ever be anything but crystal clear to me that I hate you. Prove it. Basically, this is about the sister Genevieve. You can technically, I think, read this without reading the first book, but it will kind of spoil the ending of the first book. So they are like interconnected standalones with the intention of being a series, if that makes sense. So this will have its own plot line, but it definitely is part of the series, so like take that as you will. But this is following Genevieve, who is the sister of the main character in Phantasma, and her sister has all of this magic, all of this power, and she has hidden away kind of her magic. Now she is going to be heading off to Enchantra. She's trying to get more information on things that happened with her mother in the past. I'm trying to be very vague because I don't want to spoil Phantasma. Basically, she finds an invitation addressed to her mother to a place called Enchantra, and she decides to go check it out. When she gets there, she accidentally gets stuck in this place and enters into a deadly game of cat and mouse hide and seek. And in order to survive, she's gonna have to be fake married to one of the contestants, which she cannot stand. This is my favorite trope. Like, I loved the arranged marriage, the forced marriage, the reluctant marriage, like all of those tropes I am living for. I'm eating it up. Yes, I feel like I am not coherent because I am having a really, really good time with this. There are a few things in the writing that I found to be kind of repetitive, but overall, she's got such a good way of writing that feels very lyrical, but not purpley prosy. It's very easy to read, but extremely atmospheric all at the same time. I don't know what it was about Phantasma. Maybe it was just right book, wrong moment, but this is hitting as right book, right moment, and that is all that matters right now. I made it halfway into Enchantra, so I have an update for you guys on that, and then I also got a very special envelope in the mail, so we'll open this here in just a second. I'm very excited. I know what's in here. But first and foremost, let's talk about Enchantra. I'm officially halfway into this now, and I'm still having a really, really good time with this. The banter between our main characters is incredible. Absolutely the most fun. I adore the banter between these two. I also think we've got some really good side characters in here, and I'm enjoying the moments between the siblings as well. Knox is a really interesting devil, so I'm enjoying him. We've just now gotten to where the games are kicking off, and they are starting out with their first game, which is kind of like deadly hide and seek. And the only thing that I'm not loving about this at the moment is some of the parts like in between the games or even during the game, it feels a little like it's lulling. They're using this as an opportunity to get to know one another, which I do like. I like that they're getting moments together and they're getting to know one another, but I am finding that some of those spots are a little dull for me as the reader because I'm wanting more of what we had in Phantasma or some of the other trial books that I've really enjoyed. These high action moments before we kind of go into the more lulls and getting to know one another. And there are some moments, but it just felt very quick and then it was done and then now we're in another room and we have to wait 3 hours and we're talking. And so yes, I'm enjoying it. I like it, but there's something about it that feels a little not boring, but just less engaging, maybe, because I'm still liking it, so I don't want to call it boring, but it just isn't capturing my attention quite as much as some of the other parts are. So still having a really good time with this, still excited to continue. Probably gonna sit on the couch and read for a little bit more today. Actually just finished the great closet swap of spring 2025. I have enough room in my closet for the warmer seasons or the cooler seasons worth of clothes, and then I use one of my spare bedrooms to swap them out. And I spent 2 or 3 hours this morning swapping out all of my clothes and then getting rid of bags and bags and bags full of clothes that I've had for years. They don't fit anymore and I don't like them. They're out of style. So I needed to just kind of get them out of my closet, which I did do, and that felt really good. So I'm going to be taking this to Goodwill probably tomorrow, whenever I stop being lazy and do it. But envelope time. This is my Escape the Readathon bookmarks. I'm going to be co-hosting Team Podcasters with Heather from Books and Heather, and Escape the Readathon is an amazing competitive readathon hosted by Lexi from Books with Lexi. I've participated every year, so you probably already know about it, but if you do not, please, please, please go check it out because it's going to be so much fun. I'm biased and the Podcasters bookmark is my favorite, but I want to open it up with you guys and show you because I just know they're going to be so much prettier in person than they even were when she was designing them. I know she sent me the bookmarks. I'm not sure what else she sent me. Oh, she did! Okay. Is that everything? There are a couple of different things you can actually buy for Escape the Readathon. One of them is this sticker sheet. Do I have it upside down? I do. That has like all of these little stickers that you can put in a reading journal. That is so cute. I love it. That's so cute. And then there's also 2 stickers. One of them is the Orange Cat Cruise, which is just like, can I get you to focus? No, not on my finger. There we go. And then the other one is the mirrored Escape the Readathon logo. These are so cute. I love. But the star of the show. Ah, they look so good! Okay, there are 4 bookmarks for the 4 teams, and just from here, like, do you see that shine? Amazing. Okay. I'll show you my teams last because it's my favorite. The first one is the Hackers bookmark. It says Anonymous on it. Then we have Murder Theories. Actions speak louder than words. Spirit Chasers. Are you even listening to me? This one's Ouija board themed. And then my favorite one, and I'm a little bit biased, is the Morbid Mysteries one with the tape for the podcasters. I'm so excited to use this in all of my books for the month of May. Like, so incredibly excited. I love these. I think that they turned out so good. That's it. That's all I've got for you guys for right now. If you want to grab some Escape the Readathon bookmarks, do it quickly because they are going to sell out, and I will leave Lexi's channel down below so that you guys can go and check it out. Everything will be linked in the description of the video. Hopefully you guys can hear me because it is thunderstorming outside. It is very good ambiance going on, but I am going to come back and tell you guys more about Enchantra here in a second. But I have a new obsession, and it has taken up all of my time and I have not been reading, and that is the show called The Pit, which has got one of the guys that was apparently in ER now starring in this. I never watched ER. It wasn't really in my time, but this one, I'm having a great time. I have binged through almost the whole season, and it's been a ride. This is one of those shows that's like super, super bingeable because each episode is an hour and it's going through the shift like of the day shift. So you have like 7 to 8 a.m. and then 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. and it just keeps going until their shift is over and everything that they're dealing with throughout the shift. Yes, it's extremely dramatic. Yes, there's a lot of those cases that you likely wouldn't get all of that in the same day. Although, of course, you could get it like throughout the course of your career. Probably not going to get everything that happened in this season in the same day, because that's a lot. Like, they didn't sit down to chart. They didn't sit down to eat. That's not realistic. But the medicine itself was pretty realistic, which I appreciated. I don't know if anybody else will care about that but me, but I appreciated that. I think that the characters were great. I think that the like storylines were great. It is extremely graphic. So if you are weak-stomached or don't like graphic scenes, then do not watch this. It's got the F-bomb left, right, and center, and very gory, but I thought it was a great time. I can't decide how I feel about the hourly format though, whether I liked it because it led to it being so bingeable and it was so different from what I usually see, or whether I wasn't a huge fan of it just simply because I felt like we didn't get to see the characters' lives outside of this one isolated setting. So while you were getting to know them, you never really got to fully know them because there was always the life outside of the ER that you weren't seeing and their relationships with other people. Although I think they did a pretty good job of introducing the relationships to all of the other characters and other people, but I'm not sure. Like, I liked it, but I'm not sure I loved it, if that makes sense. But I did really enjoy the show. I'm going to make this quick because the rain has just picked up quite a lot. I really enjoyed the show, had the best time, went through it in 3 days. So that tells you a lot. I think the next season is going to be the 4th of July, which could be very dramatic, and I'm curious to see what they do with it. It is got a lot of triggers, so definitely look those up if you think you might want to watch the show. There are a lot of things that happen that could be very triggering to people, loss of children, and all of this other things. So anyway, it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to go read a little bit more of Enchantra, then we'll come back, we'll check in, and I'll probably give you guys my final thoughts. I have finished Enchantra and I really enjoyed this one. I preferred it to Phantasma. For me, the romance just worked so much better in this one. Rowan is the type of shadow daddy that we all need in our lives. Their banter, their romance, how everything developed. I don't know, there was something about it that just worked so much better for me. I loved seeing the relationship develop and progress. I loved the setup. It was great. I think that there are a couple of moments in this where the pacing was a little bit off, although I take back what I said in the previous update because the second half definitely did speed up the trials a lot. We didn't have as much of that lulling that I was talking about. It was just in the first trial or the first competition element, and after that everything really did speed up quite a bit to the point where the ending was a little bit faster than I liked for it to be. I felt like everything kind of wrapped up very quickly and I wanted to see more of the moments in between for the ending itself. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I think that it did the same thing that Phantasma did and brought in the same elements that Phantasma had while also making it feel very different because it could have easily been same. And in my personal opinion, while it was similar, it definitely felt like a very different story. Genevieve felt like a very different character and I enjoyed the side characters so much more in this. I had the best time. So I'm stuck between a 4 and a 4.5 star because while I did have some complaints, the romance sucked me in so completely that I was literally obsessed by it. So I think I may give this a 4.5 star. Really loved it and I cannot wait to find out who we're going to be following in the 3rd installment. I think I know who it is. I have predictions. If you have predictions, I would say let me know down in the comments, but it might be a spoiler, so I'm not going to say them here, but I have a feeling we have similar predictions because if you know, you know. But yeah, I am so excited to have finished this. I'm so excited that it worked better for me than Phantasma did because I was a little worried after Phantasma that it wasn't going to be for me. Maybe this was just a better moment for me. Who knows? But all that matters is that it was a success. So we are going to be moving on to the next book that came out on April 8th as well, and that is going to be Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I'm very nervous about this one because it is the final book in a series, and lately final books in series have not been hitting for me. I just think that my expectations are too high, maybe. I don't really know, but for some reason they just haven't been hitting in the way that I want them to hit. So fingers crossed that this one hits. But I did want to mention today is Easter Sunday. We just basically use it as an excuse to get together as a family and eat. And I think my dad's going to be grilling steak, which he does a better steak than half the restaurants in town do. So I cannot wait to go eat some lunch. I will take you guys with me. If it's a good lunch, we'll kind of hang out. We'll see what it looks like. But yeah, I'm going to go eat my weight in food. on to Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is the third and final book in the Powerless series, and highly anticipated for me, but also I'm very scared of it. I did start this one on audio. Quick little note, digression, whatever. I'm gonna go off on a tangent for a second. I have just come to the realization that I am not in my audiobook era, and it is so incredibly sad. I'm zoning out, and I think it's my attention span, truly. I don't think it's any of the books, the narrators, the fact that it's audio, like the speed, you do you, but I am having the worst time focusing. And every time that I'm like listening in the car, or especially listening while doing other things, I do okay in the car, but if I'm trying to listen and do anything else, like when I was switching out my closet, I literally couldn't listen to it because I'm zoning out so hard and I'm missing things, and I'm not enjoying my books as much because I'm not paying as much attention as I could be, and I'm missing some of those more nuanced details that make books incredible. So I've actually been not physically reading, but reading on ebook for a lot of my reads recently, because I want so desperately to read books that are audiobooks. I am struggling. And because of that, I'm not able to get as many books done in a week because a lot of my reading time is drives. It's a 30-minute drive to and from work several days a week, and then a couple of days a week, my drive's an hour to and from work. So that's like 4, 5, 6, 7 hours during my week that I would normally be able to read that I am really struggling. So this vlog may not have as many books in it as it usually does because I can't get through as many things in a week as I have been recently. I'm gonna ride the high because I'm really enjoying the books that I'm reading on ebook or reading with my eyeballs, and so I'm just going to enjoy that. I'm just gonna ride the high. However, I have been trying to read Fearless by audio, but I did slow down my listening speed. But unfortunately, my attention span's been so bad lately, I slowed this down to see if that would help, and it has seemed to help, but I may be reading this a lot slower than normal because I can't focus, so I'm not picking it up as often unless I'm somewhere that I can absolutely focus. Maybe I'll switch over to this physical copy if I'm somewhere where I can read physically, but unfortunately, I can't take this very chunky book with me everywhere and read it, so we'll see how long it's gonna take me. You didn't need to know any of that, and I just spent 3 minutes telling you. I'm now 20% of the way into this. There will be no spoilers, but Powerless is following Peyton, and she has been entered into this trials. There's a world where we have ordinaries and elite, and there was this big battle, and essentially the elite took over, and they want the ordinaries wiped out because there's some kind of disease that could kill off elite and make them not powerful anymore, and they want to keep their magical powers. And so every year they have this big celebration of a trials tournament where the king's enforcers and all of these people can come and compete, kind of like the Hunger Games, in order to show off how powerful they are and celebrate. And she gets picked, which should be a great honor, except for she's not powerful. She's just really smart and clever and knows how to use her skills to the best, but doesn't have any magic. And so she ends up getting sent into this trial and working with the king's enforcer to stay alive. I really enjoyed book 1. I thought it was so much fun. The banter was incredible. Book 2, I still enjoyed. I still had fun with it, but it was a lot more travel, a lot more learning about one another, and it just was not quite as engaging as the first book was. This one is kind of falling somewhere in the middle for me right now. They're definitely pining for one another. There's definitely a lot of longing, not as much banter. It's definitely more on the sweet longing side than it is the banter enemies to lover side, but that's to be expected because of where we are in the story. There's a trope in here that I like, but I'm not sure that I love the way it's being done, so I can't tell you what that is because it's a big spoiler, but if you read the book, then you know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to collect my thoughts so far on this. I like it, but I'm not completely obsessed. I think we're gonna get more trials in this, and so I'm curious how they're going to make those different from Powerless and make it feel very different and unique to this book. But I've heard the last 150 pages of this are absolutely insane, so I'm very excited to get to that point and see what all the hype is about. I think I'm gonna like this one better than Reckless, but maybe not as much as Powerless, but we're gonna see where I end up landing in the end. I am a little over halfway, right around halfway, somewhere in here into Fearless, but I'm a little disappointed. I'm not nearly as engaged as I want to be. I definitely think that this does yearning and longing very well. We can definitely see between Peyton and Kai them wanting to be together and things keeping them apart. Those stolen moments I really enjoy. I think that the more romantic moments and some of their dialogue is really good. However, everything, all of these moments are very repetitive. So eventually it's just getting to the point where I'm just like, I don't care anymore. It's fine. But you've said that already. And it's not just the longing and the yearning between the two of them. I feel like we're having the same conversations, the same scenes with slight tweaks over and over and over and over. And I am bored. It's causing the pacing to be very slow and kind of just not paced well in general, because we've got the trials moments, things that are moving very quickly. And then we've got these moments in between that just feel like they are dragging. And so I am not nearly as invested as I want to be. We continue to talk about things that happened in the past and how they're affecting Peyton, but they didn't really seem to affect her in book 2, but now we're coming back and talking about things again. And if you've read the series, then you know what I'm talking about, but I do not want to spoil that for anybody that has not read the series. But it just feels like, yes, that should be a very big part of the story, but why are we just now harping on, like, why are we just now coming back to this? Why is this just now becoming such a huge deal? Now, that could be my memory failing me, and it may have been a bigger deal in book 2 than I am remembering that it was. And so if that's the case, then forgive me, wipe away everything that I just said. But as of right now, I'm just a little frustrated because I want more from it. I know that this author can do banter. I know that this author can do really good interactions between characters, high action, high energy moments. So why are we not seeing that? Yeah, I'm struggling. It's one of those books that when I'm reading it, I'm good. I can listen to it. Once I'm started, I am golden. But picking it up and choosing to read this over other things has been a struggle for me. And I hate that because I'm not disliking my time. And I know I sound very negative, but I think it's just because I'm sad. I wanted this to be a 5-star read. And right now it's sitting at like a 3.5. It could go up. I've heard the ending is very, very good, very fast paced, but it sounds like all of the pacing is at the end. So it could change, it could go up, but right now I'm just like, you have so much potential. I want you to be so good. And I'm letting that cloud me a little bit. Like the hype, the new release hype is definitely getting to me on this one. So I kind of wish I hadn't read it for a little while and had tempered expectations, but that's okay. I'm still enjoying it. I just want to be obsessed with it. Let's settle in because we have to talk final thoughts on Fearless. This is probably going to hurt some people's feelings, and I know that I'm going to have a very unpopular opinion, but I'm a little disappointed in this book. I'm trying to gather my thoughts because there are things about this that I liked. I think that the yearning and the romance was really good. Like, we had a lot of great moments between Peyton and Kai. I think that the sibling relationship and all of those dynamics were very interesting and well done for the most part. But my biggest issue with all of these dynamics is you can sometimes have too much of a good thing, and it just drug on and on and on and felt so very repetitive. I told you guys at my halfway update that I felt like we had seen the same thing a million times, but just in different ways or from different perspectives, and that never went away. It never got any better. And so I just felt like the pacing in this was astronomically slow because we were doing the same things over and over and over again. This book is around 600 pages, and it feels like if you cut out all of the repetitiveness, it could have easily been like 400 pages. It did not need to be anywhere remotely close to this long. And I don't know if I'm being a little unfair in this because I had such high expectations. I was like, okay, even though Reckless was good but not my favorite, Powerless was so good, and everybody's saying that they love Fearless, it's going to be incredible. So possibly I just set my expectations a little bit too high for this one because I really wanted to love it, but I never connected. I never felt invested. I never felt on the edge of my seat. I never felt like I was just completely overwhelmed with emotion, and these characters are going through a lot. I should be overwhelmed by emotion. And like I said, I feel like a broken record because I did enjoy the romance in this. I thought that it was good. It definitely has yearning. He's down bad for her. I liked that they weren't able to be together but wanted to be, but there's just only so many times I can hear the same thing before I'm like, yeah, I get it. We've gone through this already, and maybe that just makes me jaded. But in the end, the 150 pages being kind of a wild ride, I personally don't think that they were. It was a lot of twist reveals, but the way that the twists were presented throughout the story, we as a reader pretty much knew all of it already. There were a couple of things that we didn't know that were a surprise, but for the most part, the big reveals we already knew because of some journal entries in a different point of view that was revealed slowly throughout the book. And I think I liked that. I'm not 100% sold, but we already knew that. So when we got to these big reveals, the characters were learning about them, but I didn't find it as wild because I'm like, I already knew that. And so the extra reveals that we were getting on top of what I already knew didn't feel like as big of a shock because I already knew it. Now, I am one of those people that does like for books to kind of sprinkle in information just enough that I can be like, in the end, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised, but I can also see it. This one, I think, was trying to do that, but in the end just gave a little too much information to the point where I saw the twist coming and I wasn't surprised by it. And we also had like a villain monologue, a not so villain monologue at the end that was supposed to be super emotional, and like it was, but it was just reiterating everything I already knew for like the 16th time. And so I wasn't invested, and I wanted to be invested so much. I'm a broken record. I'm being repetitive talking about this at this point. So I do think that I'm going to leave it here. I did not hate my time with this book. I want to make that very clear that I did not dislike this book, but I am disappointed by the finale. And that has been happening to me a lot lately. So I don't know if that is the book or if it is me and my expectations, because it very well could be a me problem. I still love Peyton, I still love Kai, I still liked the writing, I still liked the world building, but I was just expecting more, I think, for the finale. So I think I'm going to give it a 3-star. I did not hate this book. It might even be a 3.5 star. I'm going to sit on it for a little while, but in the end, it was not my favorite. But that's okay. That's okay. I still like the series as a whole. I would still recommend the series, but I definitely think for me, book 1 was the strongest in the series. So that is a wrap on my new releases vlog. I have one that I feel like is worth it, one that I still feel like is worth it. Like, I'm not going to tell you if you are to the finale not to read Fearless, because it's just absolutely not worth it. It's not a bad book. I still think it's worth it if you are on the finale. If you are one of those people that's trying to decide whether or not to start the series, and it sounds like something you would enjoy, I still think it's worth it. My expectations were too high. But I definitely think that Enchanter was worth it. I had a great time reading it. I had a good time this week in general. It was just fun to read some new releases and to read some things that I was excited about. So let me know if you've read either of these books down below. What did you think about them? What was one of your most anticipated releases that's come out in the last couple of weeks? Have you read it yet? Did it live up? All of the things, let me know down in the comments below. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me a flower emoji. As always, thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.